guys have Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
I already crashed the plane.
What happened?
Well, Declan had to go to Target Field.
Yeah, I know that.
How do I fade this? Oh, manually. Here we go. Look at fading that music. Look at that. Who says I can't produce and bloviate takes all at the same time? All my doubters out there. Yeah. This is the OG Score North podcast here, Mackey and Judd. The B-side, if you will, as we're calling it. I'd love to fire some asses with you here, Judd. It is a Thursday, and so we're bringing back some of our favorite old segments from the podcast, from the old Mackey and Judd radio show. But I do have a follow-up from our 20 years of Wilf ownership discussion on Purple Daily. There's another fun anecdote in here in this Kevin Seifert story. But why don't you say hello to MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning before we start?
I'd love to. And you know what? The plumbing, always important. The heating, you can put on hold for now, but the AC, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be hot again this weekend. And so you want to make sure, if you weren't last week, that your AC is working great. How about this then? As a result, book a $49 AC tune-up and get a BOGO air quality bundle, a pristine electronic air cleaner, and a UV light for the price of one. And that's right, only $49 to make sure that your AC is working at maximum capacity, 100%. Also, MSP partnering with The Open Door, a hunger relief organization providing food to more than 20,000 people a month. MSP will be collecting brown paper bags during their HVAC and plumbing calls to help out with that cause. Give them a call, 651-615-4292, or check out their website for all of their services at callmsp.com. Callmsp.com. Doing good in your home and in the community. That's our friends at MSP.
Yeah, we Purple Daily today, we, I guess you could say, celebrated 20 years of Wilf ownership. 20 years of, it's the Wilf-iversary this June here of when they purchased the Vikings from Red McCombs back in 2005. And there's another anecdote. Kevin Seifert did the article on ESPN.com. And I don't know, I love this type of stuff. Like, it's totally... Well, I'll just read this and then we can dissect it. But defensive lineman Harrison Phillips was shocked this last spring when Marc Wilf approached him and asked how Marty was doing. And Harrison Phillips said, "Marty's my dog," that Marc had never met before. I did a video about him once, and then Seifert links to the video here on Vikings.com, which I'm excited to watch after this. 3 years ago for the Vikings website, I did a video about my dog, Marty. I just thought that was awesome. I went home and told my wife, hey, Marty's got some rich friends. But how many owners know the names of their players' dogs? It makes you think this guy cares about me. I'm not just number 97. He cares about who Harrison Phillips is. And, I mean, the cynical side of me is like, okay, did a PR person... Hey, I want to go talk to one of our veterans today. Can you give me like 3 facts about him? Oh, he's got a dog named Marty. I don't know, the cynical side of me. But however it happens, it's that attention to detail, I think, that to go back to the word humanize that I used on Purple Daily, it humanizes these guys. And it makes you feel like you're going through this grind of a football season. That guy cares about me. He's writing me fat checks and he knows my dog's name. Okay, I can get down with working here for another year.
Well, and plus, you now, as far as the practice facility goes, you walk into this gorgeous Taj Mahal, right? Your home stadium.
The Taj Mahal, as Patrick.
Your home stadium. The locker room is huge, enormous. Like that, to me, there's so much. If you are, and heck, we saw this with the Vikings having cap space now. If you're a free agent considering options, right? Like, if you know my dog's name, that's awesome. If you don't, that's fine too. But what do you offer me as far as the contract goes and as far as the work environment goes? And that's where, this thing has made just a ton of strides. Because if you're a free agent now coming in to visit the Vikings, okay, you get put up at a hotel in Eagan that they own, that's gorgeous. You get wined and dined in that hotel bar and restaurant, which is very, very nice. You walk across the street to this enormous campus. Like, as Tice told the story that in 2004 or 5, when they were bringing in free agents, they'd pick them up at the airport, take them out to eat, get them liquored up, and then take them to see, this is Winter Park. Can't see straight, so you really can't see it, but believe me, you'll like it. So, I mean, you just think about
is it a mouse? What's going on over there?
Dude,
Nothing to see.
Dude, you're not wrong. Like, there were mice. It was disgusting. So, yeah, that is, if you have a personal touch with players and you own the team, that's great. But just the fact that they have so much now to offer, like if you're Javon Hargrave, right? You played a long time, San Francisco, you've been to some good stops, and this is the selling point. You're like, hell yeah, I'll come here.
Yeah, it's the anecdote you told on Purple Daily too about the outdoor area, the practice area. There was like a kind of like a hill or a mound or whatever. The fact that they wouldn't even, the old ownership group, the McCombs ownership group, wouldn't even like mow that or knock out the trees and stuff. It's kind of funny when you see the NFL Players Association surveys come out, and there's franchises that like don't offer 3 meals a day to their players. It's like, okay, though these 29 teams are offering 3 meals. You can just, if you're an NFL player, you can come in, you can have great nutritious food, proteins, everything.
Chef's right there cooking it
like,
up.
He's got your omelet. He knows your name, the chef, and other organizations are like, whoa, too spendy. Find dinner on your own, right? Mm-hmm. Or like crappy weight rooms and stuff. Like this is like a $20 billion league, and it shouldn't be that much to ask for all owners to be like the Wilfs and spare very little expense. But hey, to this point, it gives the Vikings a huge advantage that that they have good owners that are willing to spend a little extra money, have some nice facilities. And yeah, it's probably more impressive when you fly. And now there's not as many free agents flying in because they're just doing all these contracts over phone and Zoom and stuff.
Sure.
You do get some visits with the second wave guys, but
sure. Yeah,
it's, I don't know. I'm still kind of combing through this whole article on ESPN.com from Seifert, but it's been in some ways an unsatisfying 20 years. But not because the ownership is actively holding the franchise back is probably the best way that I can phrase it. Because they haven't been to back-to-back playoffs in 16 years.
No question.
But it's not like you could look at the Twins and say, I think the Pohlad family, through their lack of curiosity, in some ways they've spent in some seasons up to par. But like I feel like that ownership group prevents the Twins from being as good as they could be. I don't feel that way about the Minnesota and Glenn Taylor on the Wolves side for all those years.
Right.
Too.
And the Twins, in 2010 get this beautiful brand new ballpark, which is still very nice. And the history in that ballpark is atrocious.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing about it too. Like there is and I understand that there is revenue sharing and a salary cap in football that does not exist in baseball. I get the problems, but still, when you get that ballpark, you're thinking, here we go, 2010, they make the playoffs. We're finally going to get past the Yankees. And then you immediately, pardon my French, piss it away by going into this, years-long rut. You emerge 2019, this is great. 2020, shortened season, but you get to the playoff, and it constantly feels like a yo-yo because they do have bad years or really bad periods. So, yeah, the Vikings thing just feels, and I think the Wolves also are going in this direction where you don't really question it as much.
Okay, I have a question off that then. Well, 2 questions. For the 4 main ownership groups, so Vikings, the Timberwolves, and Lynx owned by one group now, and have been since 1997, and then the Wild, and then the Twins. So those 4 entities. Is this as clear cut as the ownership power rankings in this town have been, where it's very clearly Wilf's number 1? I would say very clearly for now, Timberwolves number 2 with Marc and Alex, because they've been very hands-on. It's not like they're coming in blind here. We've seen them operate for 4 years, and they've made some good moves.
Right.
And then number 3, Leopold with the Wild, and number 4, Pohlads with the Twins.
Boy, so the Pohlads have owned it for a long time. The Vikings are 20 years now, and the Wilfs have been good. Like the Wilfs have cared. I've never questioned how much they care. Mm-hmm. So Glenn Taylor was probably last behind the Twins for a long time. I'd say the Pohlads were third. Leopold's dedication to trying to win can't be questioned. The methods can be at times, but I mean, he doesn't spare a ton of expenses, as seen by the Parisi and Suter contracts, which unfortunately hamstrung them. But yeah, I'd say it's clear. I'd say it's clear cut now. Except I do want more time with Laurie and A-Rod now that they have the whole thing. Like I need more time. But from a basketball op standpoint, there have not been, in my opinion, any obvious missteps since they are the guy that clearly told Glenn, go get Tim Conley. Or just went and got him themselves, I should say.
Yeah, well, they wound up. Glenn felt, it's funny. I had heard going back like a year and a half ago when it was getting really contentious, and Glenn had either officially challenged the ownership situation legally, or maybe was about to, but that Glenn felt like, hey, I gave these guys the keys to my car to drive around because they're going to own it anyways, and I don't like that they've just kind of driven it now without coming back home once in a while. Like they just kind of they took maybe more liberties, but it's like, yeah, dude, that's good. They're going to own the team anyways.
Right.
They've got connections. They're ambitious. So my next question off this is, do you think in 10 years from now, are we going to view Marc and Alex more in line with how we view the Wilfs, which is awesome owners? Yep. I mean, there's definitely some things to poke at once in a while, but like awesome owners. Or will we view them in 10 years how we view the Pohlads and Glenn Taylor?
Oh, boy. It's so hard to answer that question because I don't know. Like, I have seen this before, especially because it was interesting to me that the media, and there's been quite a bit that Marc and Alex have done thus far, is all like on Zooms, it sounds like, in tandem. Like they're doing everything together. Mm-hmm. And we've seen this. I'm going to tell you right now, I've seen that crumble before too. I think it's very hard to have two people who both have a huge stake in the team coexist. There ordinarily is one guy who takes charge eventually. So that's where I have some trepidation about the long term. I'm not saying it's not going to work. I'm not saying that the Wolves aren't going to be good. And I do like the fact that it's very clear thus far that Marc and Alex hired Conley and said, you run the basketball ops, which at the end of the day is the most important thing. But as far as the ownership goes, I don't know in 10 years if they're both still going to be together. I think one might emerge as the alpha. I'm just saying, I've seen this attempted before. And it is a very difficult thing because egos get involved. Decisions differ, right?
Are the Wilfs different because they're family?
They're family, yes. Yeah. I guarantee you Marc and Ziggy have had some probably to-dos about things, but they're brothers. So that goes back years. But these two are business partners. And they're very adamant that we both have, like, we think alike. That's an awesome thing to say. But we all know that keeping that up over the long term with a person who's not like in your family is a difficult thing to do.
Yeah, I think if I had to say with no middle ground, in 10 years, are we going to view Marc and Alex more like the Pohlads and Glenn, where it's like, oh my gosh, they can't sell fast enough? Or I would probably lean toward the Wilfs on the scale. And part of it's because if you do have Anthony Edwards around and Tim Conley around, it does keep your approval rating as an ownership group a lot higher because you've got a smart dude running the basketball ops and you got one of the 5 best players in the NBA. I will say that I think they're going to have to find a balance, especially Alex. Alex loves to be out there. He's very media friendly. It's great. Like he's on Fox doing baseball stuff, and he's been a media guy now. And even throughout his career, he would always talk to reporters and stuff. Mm-hmm. When you own a team, though, you probably have to be a little careful with some of that. Like you can't be too public. Well, because how many super public owners would you say are great and winning? And like I brought up Jerry Jones on Purple Daily. It's like that dude loves the spotlight.
Right.
Okay. Well, if he were to just like take a deep breath. Now the difference is Jerry is too insecure to hire someone to run the front office. He's got to run it himself with his son, right? Well, Alex and Marc are like, dude, Tim Connolly, we trust
Right.
you. We'll stay in the background. So there's a
Right.
major difference there.
I guess my if I have a fear about where this would go wrong, it's because of what you just said. Alex loves to talk. So eventually what usually happens there is the media starts to give credit, and the fans do, to the person who loves to talk. And sometimes the other guys like, hold on a second here. I'm important too. I'm the
governor.
Yeah, damn it. There's just natural friction that can be created. And I'm not saying that there is going to be a falling out in the next couple of years, but when you talk 10 years, when you talk 10 years down the road, if I had to handicap this, I'm guessing it's owned by one of them and investors. But this whole thing of we are one is a very difficult thing to pull off unless you are completely comfortable with one of you sort of just shrinking into the background. If that's the case, then you're okay. But 10 years is a long time.
I mean, if they agree on if they keep the good things intact, Anthony Edwards, Tim Connolly, and they agree on how to proceed with the other big things, arena, any other big trades that they would trust Tim Connolly to make, budget, luxury tax, things like that. But those are big things that people have different opinions on, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Well, and the arena is not going to be simple. I'm going to say that right now.
And Marc has acknowledged. I appreciate sometimes it's like we're going to get an arena. This like Marc has clearly understands, and Alex, this might be like an 8 to 10 year thing, and we understand.
And most importantly, too, in their latest round of media, they are saying we would like to stay downtown if it's possible, but they are very much leaving the door wide open to it won't be.
Yeah, which, hey, better to go to the suburbs than to strong arm your way out of Minnesota.
100%.
It's funny how many people made that joke 4 years ago, like, why do people care? Get this garbage ass team out of here. It's like, well, now this team is super fun and really competitive and really good.
Such a stupid thing to say. You never want to lose a professional team.
If you're a sports fan. Yeah, 100%.
It's bad for your city, too.
I'd like to fire someone's ass here.
Yeah, go right ahead.
You know who I'm not going to fire? It's the people that make legit pizza.
No, you're gonna hire them.
Those people deserve a promotion. Pep's Legit Pizza, the best frozen pizza on the market right now. And it's fantastic. We had a 3-cheese Pep's Legit Pizza on Sunday night. That crunchy crust, robust sauce. My favorite toppings are the ones you see right now on the YouTube channel, though, the mushroom and sausage. That's definitely my number one in the power rankings. But you go to a grocery store in the Twin Cities, go to the freezer section, and you can get your hands on a Pep's Legit Pizza for that authentic at-home pizza parlor experience that I've been raving about here throughout the last several months. North American Banking Company also powering Mackey and Judd, a Minnesota-based bank. Just like this is a Minnesota-based podcast. 6 locations in the Twin Cities, Maple Grove, Roseville, Shoreview, Hastings, Woodbury, and 50th in France. In getting to know the people at North American Banking Company over the last several months, I've noticed they're very friendly, very knowledgeable. They take the time to learn about you, your life, your family, your goals, and they definitely prioritize the safety and security of your accounts. So if those things sound like a better banking experience, go to nabankcode.com/Mackey to learn more. That's nabankcode.com/Mackey. Okay. This may seem a little random, but I feel like Rudy Gobert's name has popped up a lot here with the Kevin Durant trade rumors and now kind of the uncertainty about is he still available for trade. And then last night, there's so many great French young players coming into the NBA since Rudy 10 years ago. And so they draft Yohan Berenguer, 18-year-old French Rudy Gobert sort of protege with some better hands and athleticism. And Rudy approved. He was on Twitter. And here's who I want to fire. I want to fire all of the basketball analysts, all of the talking heads out there who scoffed 3 years ago. Was it 3 or 4 years ago when they made that Rudy trade? I think it was 4 summers ago. Mm-hmm. When the people who scoffed, who threw their heads back in protest, this is like the Herschel Walker trade. You're gutting your franchise. So it was 2 categories of takes from these people. Number one was the people that said it was a bad basketball fit. Rudy Gobert? What are you possibly going to do with him? You already got a 7-footer here. Well, 2 years later, they had the number 1 defense in the NBA, They went to back-to-back Western Conference Finals. The first one with the other 7-footer, Karl Anthony Towns, and that whole run helped give Anthony Edwards 42 playoff games of experience before turning 24 years old. So it's a terrible basketball fit. How are you going to make it work basketball-wise? You're fired. And then the other group of people was what do you, if this doesn't work, or even if it kind of does, you're going to have no assets. Then what? Then what's your next move? Well, then they made like 2 other big moves. They got Conley. Then they did the DiVincenzo, Julius Randle thing, which helped get them back to the Western Conference Finals. And in addition to Anthony Edwards being under the age of 25, here's how stuck they are with no young assets. Jaden McDaniels, Terrence Shannon Jr., Rob Dillingham, Jalen Clark, Yohan Beranger. We're going to figure out the pronunciation.
I've got it here, but I can't do it.
You can't do it? I'll look it up.
I got the press release here.
Leonard Miller, and then whoever they take tonight with the 31st overall pick. Like, all of these basketball players are under 25 years old, and they still have first-round picks every other year. So the people that also said they're stuck, there's nothing else they can do. They're just going to have an old, decrepit team, and Anthony Edwards is going to want out. So if this is the last week of Rudy Gobert in a Timberwolves uniform with some rumors swirling around, I think they're going to keep him based on all the talk from like the Wolves front office. But if this is the last week, it's a Rudy Gobert appreciation rant. And also all the people that thought this was a terrible trade a few years ago. Did you think the Wolves were going to be back-to-back Western Conference Finals teams? Probably not.
Terrible trade. Awful trade.
Now, some people might say you have to win a championship for the trade to actually be good. And I think there was a big step to be
Yes.
They needed to make a big step in an NBA where oftentimes you do
become a serious team
to get to the next place. Yeah, become a serious team.
Yeah,
first.
I don't know if you think that they're going to win a championship eventually here, which I mean, they've certainly knocked on the door. I don't know Gobert is going to be on the podium when the LOB it is handed to Marc to fight over it.
That's where the cracks happen.
You probably hand it to the governor, and I believe with the Wolves, Marc is the governor, and then Alex gets the championship trophy for the WNBA, which, by the way, the Lynx might win this season.
They probably will,
but that's where they'll be struggling. Who gets the trophy? Okay, so here it is quickly. The pronunciation guide. Okay, so this is from the Wolves press release sent out after the pick. Capital BEE, so B, hyphen, small, all small, RAHN, small, hyphen, small, JZEE.
Wait.
So B.
Beranger?
Beranger.
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 So it's Yohan Beranger.
Yeah, so I think it's pretty simple, actually.
Beranger.
But I was trying to do that phonetically in my head, a big struggle for the sports dad.
Yohan Beranger.
Beranger.
It's not Joan Behringer. That'd be the most American way to say it. Joan Behringer. He's that big French guy.
Starting for the Wolves at a pivot. Joan
Behringer. Okay, listen. We're going to have to get used to it because I think there's like a 10 to 15% chance that they found Giannis 2.0 here.
Well, it's worth taking shots. I got no problem with taking shots.
Tim Connolly found freaking Jokic in the second round.
Right,
in
that's
Denver.
my point. Yep. It's worth taking shots. And that's the thing about basketball. Draft picks are valuable. There's no question. But, you are coming off now. You've basically got 2 years of draft picks built up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like, oh my God, they didn't get a guy that can help them. And if you're wrong, you're wrong. It's too bad. But as I said with Dukes on Flagrant today, I also have some faith in Conley based on what he's done in building teams before, that they ain't guessing.
Yes. I guess if you scoured YouTube and watched highlights of 6 of the draft candidates and have a super strong opinion that Tim Connolly's wrong, I would say take a deep breath and let this dude cook. Let's just see. Maybe he's wrong, but if they say we're good on our rotation, we got 9 guys and a trade cooking over here, so we're good for the next year or two. This is a 3 years from now play where you got a prime Anthony Edwards, and then this dude comes in to replace Rudy Gobert, and maybe then some.
7'9", 7'9".
He's the first 8-foot player in NBA history.
All right, love it.
All right, you got to go record Purple Access with our guy Tony Scoggins.
Yes.
Anthony Scoggins.
Yes. Each of us with our 5 favorite Vikings games that we've covered. The caveat, it had to be in person.
Okay. In person with your own 2 eyes. With
exactly
your,
right.
Your field glasses.
Exactly right.
All right, he's Judd. I am Mackey. And this is the OG Score North podcast here, Mackey and Judd. See you guys.